Welcome to the Shreveport Action Show with Tommy. Had to do a little bit of change up, tired of the same old type of thing. But here we go. This video is going to be about the Raw show tonight, and also the Superstars had two matches, and there was a dark match tonight. But first, I'll give you some brief news on WWE. And here we go. WWE has announced that Chris Jericho has been medically cleared to wrestle on tonight's Raw show, as he did an injury angle with Jericho to eliminate himself from the Elimination Chamber on Sunday night. After the pay-per-view went off the air, he got on Twitter or some of the stuff and said, "I did not get eliminated." Well, the referee said you did. USA Network will air this year's Hall of Fame ceremony the night after WrestleMania, April 2nd at 7 p.m., which is 1 hour before Raw, and thanks to Devin Cutting of Pro Wrestling Events.tk. Wow, another after WrestleMania Hall of Fame ceremony. There was concern for some time that the ceremony would not even be broadcasted at all on air. As usual, you can probably catch it on WWE.com somewhere, which was live as it happens. But better late than never, right? Lucha Libre USA has announced a Masked Warriors live tour starting in late March. So far, 3 dates have been confirmed and announced. March 23rd in Reno, Nevada, and March 25th and the 30th in Stockton and San Jose, California, respectively. Among those scheduled to appear are former WWE stars Chavo Guerrero Jr., Hurricane Shane Helms, Melina, and Jillian Hall. They probably will be facing each other, my guess. You can purchase tickets for those events via Ticketmaster.com. For those unfamiliar with Lucha Libre, it's a style of wrestling that made famous in Mexico and features a stiffer ring and lots of high flying. Ron Simmons appeared on the Busted Open satellite radio show on Monday and stated that the company will be making the announcement of his Hall of Fame induction on tonight's Raw. I read the results from his induction last week, but WWE waited another week before they announced it on TV. And JBL is expected to handle the induction speech for his longtime tag partner. Busted Open is on Sirius 94, XM 208, and Sports Zone 860 for those who have that radio programming. Florida Championship Wrestling star Bo Rotunda, who is one half of the SCW Tag Team Champions and son of WWE legend Mike Rotunda, aka IRS, was arrested and charged with DUI in Temple Terrace, Florida on Saturday night. Rotunda failed two breathalyzer tests with the results of .166 and .178, both over twice the legal limit of .08. Bail was set at $500, and Rotunda was still in jail Sunday morning. Thanks to .net member Kid Mojo for the tip. And the advertised dark matches for tonight's Raw are John Cena versus Kane and CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler. Well, I only seen one statement that Dolph Ziggler did wrestle in the dark match main event, so I guess that match happened. But John Cena versus Kane, don't think so. WWE personality Ricardo Rodriguez, a.k.a. real name Jesus Rodriguez, celebrated his 26th birthday on Friday. He was born on February 17th, 1986. Former WWE star Raymond Rougeau turned 57 on Saturday. He was born February 18th, 1955. AWA television show airing tonight on ESPN Classic at 11 p.m. However, there are no matches, nor an air date listed for the show. So you might be able to find it. And don't forget, Comcast in our area does not carry ESPN Classic. Former WWE champion Dave Bautista told the UK Sun that he doesn't pay much attention to pro wrestling these days and turned down an interesting offer. And he's quoted by saying, "I've no plans to return anytime soon." As Bautista said, and quoted again, "I was offered the job of working on Tough Enough. I just didn't think it was for me. I hear it went well with Stone Cold, and good luck to them." Quote, again, "I need to be excited by a project, and I didn't feel that way about Tough Enough. If I did return to the WWE, it would be for a run, not just a one-shot deal. I'd have to be a contestant for them, not someone who drifts in and out to boost ratings. If I did, I'd love to work with Triple H again or Undertaker. They're the best workers there, in my opinion, and they'd make it worthwhile to return. The show would have to change, though, so I can't see my return being anytime soon, can you?" Unquote. Well, Batista also balked about the notion of wrestling outside WWE, quoted by saying, "For me, the WWE is the #1 wrestling organization." Unquote. He said, again, another quote, "I'd hate to end my career somewhere that's a step down. If I go out on top and working for the company on top." Unquote. And Batista cited the company's PG direction as the reason he walked away from WWE. He also mentioned 2 WWE characters he dislikes, the 2 names he'd like to work with if he returns, and his acting career. He did the interview to promote Scorpion King 3, Battle for Redemption, which is available on Blu-ray and DVD on February 27th in the UK. Well, Zack Ryder indicated on Twitter that he will not be appearing on tonight's Raw Super Show from Minneapolis, so that's why they didn't use him, because he was not there. Several Raw stars, including WWE Champion CM Punk, are scheduled for tomorrow night's live SmackDown. Yes, live SmackDown, folks, on Sci-Fi Special. WWE was confiscating anti-John Cena signs at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view on yesterday. They were specifically looking to remove any anti-Cena sign that would be visible on camera and signs with boot stances to boot. So all signs were confiscated concerning that. Kofi Kingston needed staples in the back of his head after last night's Elimination Chamber match for the WWE title. Former WCW, NWA, WWF star Rick Steiner stated on Facebook his son Maverick finished 3rd in the state high school finals for the 195-pound division wrestling, and he congratulates his son by saying, "Way to go, Maverick. You're the man." Okay. In an interview promoting tonight's Raw Super Show in Minneapolis, Kofi Kingston discussed fulfilling his dream to become a professional wrestler and his pre-WWE connection to fellow superstar Alex Riley. Because they both had something to do with Boston College. Probably, everybody knows by now that Alex Riley did go to Boston College and graduated from there. Kofi was there also, and he's stating regarding Riley, Kingston said, quote, "We have a developmental territory which is in Florida, FCW, and you know, Riley and I weren't close friends, but we ran in the same circles of people. And one day of practice, I'd be signed for about a year and some change, and he had just showed up. He walked in, and I was like, man, that looks like Riley. There's no way he'd be here, though. He went through the whole practice. We'd even like to talk to each other, and then at the end, he was like, hey, did you go to BC? I was like, I knew it was you, so it was crazy. So it's what goes through with life and business. You don't remember things until years later. Well, the results from the dark match prior to Superstars tapings was Ryback defeating JTG. Ryback all the way with power moves. Short squash. Ryback wears a black singlet. And is really jacked. Scott Stanford and Josh Matthews come out for a Superstar taping. And this report is by Chris, I believe it's Chris Shore, who is live, and he is a reporter for ProWrestling.net. So if I say a .net member or reader, that's the site that I normally get my dirt sheet info from. Superstars match. A-Ride versus Michael McGillicuddy. No hometown love for Michael McGillicuddy. His real name is Joe Hennick. Big pop for Riley. McGillicuddy kicked out of the jumping DDT and a top rope hip toss to come back and hitting a running neck breaker for the win. Good match with good near falls. Didn't state who won. Okay, well, it was another Jason guy who was also a reporter noted that only one upper deck section was tarped off. This is the best Minnesota wrestling crowd in years. Cheers and boos even split for John Cena. Match number 2, Tyler Rex with Kurt Hawkins defeated Mason Ryan. Rex won with a cool DDT finisher. Jason assures me he isn't drunk. And they set up the Raw. As that was his last thing. And the live report is by Chris Shore, who was at the event along with Jason. Or actually, Jason was a reporter because Chris was sending the info into Jason. A video recap. Eve kissing John Cena from last week. And the subsequent attack on Ryder by Kane. The show opened cold backstage with Eve as she's starting to talk to the Bellas about the weather. One of the Bellas asked Eve about how Zack was. Eve laughed at him and said that she and Zack were never friends, and she was just using Zack. She said several was talking about her, and now she was going to use Cena. Well, guess what? As she didn't know, Cena was walking up from behind. Surprise! Yes, Eve is doing a heel turn. The Bellas looked shocked at this, and Eve said that that's what people do in this world. She asked them to record her telling Cena off in his locker room with her phone. Eve handed the Bellas her phone and turned around, and guess who was standing there? Cena. Eve looked upset and tried to speak, but Cena shook his head and walked away. That was sudden. I mean, I realize it's a heel turn and much needed one, but that seemed ignorant and fake. Opening video airs, followed by the pyro, and Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler checked in on commentary. John Cena's music, and he comes to the ring with mixed response. As Jason Powell mentioned in his report from the arena. So it's Jason Powell and not Chris Shore. Okay, Jason Powell's report. Thank you, Jason. Anyways, before Cena could speak, Eve came out with a mic begging to let her explain. The crowd booed her. She said it was totally taken out of content, unquote. She continues to beg, and Cena cut her off, telling her to speak up, and that she said enough. He said that Eve had been sipping the skank juice, and she planned to use her assets to further her career. Eve said that she had been friends for a long time. Cena said because of her, he had lost a good friend in Zack Ryder, that he had lost a broski for a hoskie. And by the way, hoskie was trending worldwide on Twitter. Eve said that she was joking around. Cena told her not to settle for him, but to hold out for Rock. He said that they were perfect for each other because they were both scandalous bitches. Eve dropped to her knees and cried as the crowd chanted, "Hoskie, Hoskie, Hoskie." Cena started to feel bad and helped her up, and she tried to kiss him or something. Cena threw his hands up and leaned back. A ref and some other guys, another guy ran out to pull her away. It was actually just two referees. Cena took the mic and said he was disease-free and wanted to stay away, to stay that way before walking out. As he drops the microphone, he picked up the microphone and dropped it after he said that. Eve had a breakdown in the ring and was finally helped out by the officials as we get a "We Want Ryder" chant broke out in the crowd as they go to commercial or another the video showing Undertaker cutting his hair again. And he said he would answer Triple H tonight. What in the hell was that? What was that? I think I liked it, but it was just so different from anything I expected that I'm not entirely sure. I like the Eve heel turn, but the breakdown was odd. So I'm not hating it, I'm just confused by it. Commercial, hyping the Super SmackDown for tomorrow night and announced CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan as the main event. Sheamus was introduced as the Royal Rumble winner and the man who would challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Mark Henry was out next. Well, this was match number 1. Sheamus defeated Mark Henry in 3 minutes 13 seconds. So Mark Henry is well enough to work tonight, but we have to have Santino and Khali in the chamber. Okay. Sheamus had all of his offense quickly and went for the brogue kick. Henry moved out of the way and hit clothesline. He lifted Sheamus up for the World Strongest Slam, but Sheamus escaped and hit the brogue kick for the win. Backstage segment with John Laurinaitis telling David Otunga that everyone was talking about Mr. Excitement. Teddy Long walks in and they all exchange unpleasantries. Johnny Ace Laurinaitis put off the double GM thing. That's coming from Otunga and had no idea that all those guys would come out on the pay-per-view for him. Teddy said he liked the idea, but wanted to ask the people who should lead both shows. As a poll was supposedly to be ran, they did nothing with it. Well, Johnny Laurinaitis said all that mattered was that the board of directors thought, what the board of directors has thought. And then Laurinaitis also announced a 10-man battle royal with the winner facing Punk at WrestleMania. Well, Teddy came back and said Laurinaitis has his 5, and now he has his own 5. That really sucked. Otunga asked if Teddy was saying SmackDown was better than Raw. Teddy said, but anybody on the SmackDown roster was better than Otunga. Laurinaitis said Otunga would face anybody from the SmackDown roster tonight. Teddy said, "Okay, player." Look, he looked up and said, asked David Otunga. He said, "What's up with your bow tie there?" Said, "That looks like Pee Wee Herman's fairy. You look like Pee Wee Herman's fairy godmama." Wow. Mark Henry is now doing enhancement matches. Unreal. And please don't let Teddy Long end up as the GM of both. Whatever. I'd rather have him than the sucky Laurinaitis. The Rock was hyped for next week. Hope they showed it in the arena so Jason can have his face rubbed in it. Though I do feel bad for all the other people there who got it rubbed in their faces. Nice work, WWE. Match number 2, R-Truth and Kofi Kingston tag teaming defeated Epico and Primo with Rosa Mendez in 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Truth and Epico started. The Truth started quickly, but Primo scored the blind tag and attacked from behind. Kofi got the hot tag and hit the boom drop. Rosa distracted him, allowing Epico to get the cheap shot. Primo went for the backstabber, but Kofi slipped out and hit Trouble in Paradise for the win. The announced team put over the possibilities of a title shot now. The next Hall of Fame inductee was hyped for after the break, and guess what? There's a WrestleMania tag title match. Book it! Yeah, so they're actually going to form, what is it? Okay. Trouble in Paradise? Well, let's put the Truth in Paradise. Something like that. Make them a tag team name and send it in WWE. They may even use it. Surprise! Ron Simmons was announced as the new inductee to the Hall of Fame. The announce team narrated the video showing Jericho's elimination from the Elimination Chamber last night as the injury they cut to the back. And Josh Matthews started to ask Jericho about it. Jericho cut him off and said he was never eliminated and that was unfair. He asked how Punk could let a victory like that stand. And that was all he said. And they cut away. Wow, he said he was the best in the world at everything he did, and he knew it. He said tonight would be the end of the world as we know it, and everything in the Battle Royal would know it too. Commercial break. Congratulations to Ron Simmons and his induction. Excellent choice. As I knew about it last week, but WWE just failed to report it. Jericho continued to be the uninspiring and is now promising that tonight will be the end of the world. Sorry, Chris. That ship sailed away at the Rumble. During the commercial break, WWE Network video aired in the arena and still says it will debut in 2012. Well, that's supposedly maybe October, November. Match number 3, boring David Otunga, where laryngitis defeated Ezekiel Jackson with peanut head long in 1 minute and 37 seconds. Much more like a squash match. I mean, come on, folks. Ezekiel's a big dude. And to just let Otunga maul him over, that's stupid. Well, Zeke destroyed Otunga and went for a corner splash. Otunga moves out of the way. Zeke hit the post. Otunga hits his finisher for the win. After the match, laryngitis mocked Peanut Head and Cole sucked up to laryngitis. And the announce team set up a video that recapped the Triple H HBK segment from last week. A person in a trench coat, presumably Undertaker, was shown walking backstage as the hype was for the Undertaker. And they go to commercial. So far, this Raw has been terrible. Opening segment worked, and Ron Simmons deserves the nod, but everything else was awful. Not a good start for the build to WrestleMania. Well, segment number with the Undertaker is made as his long entrance, and said since being carried from the ring at WrestleMania 27, he had been in living hell. He said it wasn't a physical one because the wounds had healed. He said he came to the ring and challenged Triple H, and never in his worst nightmares he would get the answer he got. He said Hunter told him no. He said the choice wasn't Hunter's to make. He said they were headed to an Armageddon of a wrestling era, and that they were the final two of their kind. He said Hunter might lie to himself, hiding underneath a suit. He said he might lie to Shawn. He might lie to the WWE Universe. He said Hunter would not lie to him. He said Hunter would come to the ring and look him in the eye because this was an apocalypse. Hunter's music hits and he comes to the ring. He started to speak by saying when he looked into Undertaker's eyes 3 weeks ago, but Taker told him to shut up. Yep, and his voice is a shut up, just like Ric Flair had in front of the crowd. He said he didn't need Hunter's pity. Hunter then said that they were the last of an era, but he had moved on to making sure WWE was around forever, and then Taker was still the person he was before. Hunter said he needed Taker to be the leader for the company, and he was not going to be the guy to extinguish that flame because it was bad for business. Well, Undertaker asked which was worse for business, Taker being gone or Hunter being gone. Hunter said it was just bad for business. He said Taker didn't want redemption or vengeance or salvation. He wanted somebody to end it. Taker said Hunter could spin it however he wanted, and at the end of the day, he was just a coward. Hunter got fumed and started yelling at Taker and then stopped mid-sentence. He said he saw what Taker was trying to do, but it wasn't going to work. The answer was still no. He climbed out of the ring and walked halfway up the ramp. Taker never looked at him as he walked away, turned his back, suddenly spoke and said he figured it out. He said Hunter knew he couldn't do what Sean hadn't been able to do because Sean had always been better than Hunter. Well, that ripped into Hunter's heart. Hunter ripped his coat off and tie off and stormed back to the ring. Hunter said that this had nothing to do with Sean. He said Sean couldn't get the job done, but he knew damn well he could, so he did. So did Taker. Then the crowd chanted, "Do it, do it, do it!" Hunter repeated the line from Taker the line from Taker about the suit covering layers and said the layers were gone. He said if Taker wanted it to end, if he really wanted WrestleMania, he had it. The place went nuts. Hunter said if they did it, then thought they had to go all the way. Hunter then said if they did it, it had to be hell in a cell. Taker smirked, left the ring, and on his way out, he taps Triple H on the shoulder and just left. Wow. I'm still not excited about the match because it's another still repeat, and it's still not worth buying the pay-per-view. I'm still going to watch it, but it's going to be online only. That way I'm not wasting my money on this BS crap. I mean, come on. If you're going to pass a torch, pass it to a younger guy. Somebody like an Alex Riley, a Kofi Kingston, somebody that's a little bit younger and can hold the torch and go on with business. Okay. Then they show still pictures of Big Show breaking into Daniel Bryan's pod at Elimination Chamber. Bryan made his ring entrance while a graphic showed he will face Sheamus at WrestleMania. He cut a promo and said everyone should consider him a role model because he beat 5 other guys and was still the world champion. Match number 4. Daniel Bryan defeated Santino Marella in 55 seconds. Santino was actually taped up with his on the arm that he normally does his Cobra. So he wasn't actually physically able to do the match, but then he turned around and did the Rumble match later on for the main event. Well, Santino went for a roll-up. Bryan kicks out and took a LaBelle lock and locked it in for the submission victory. Well, Morello basically did his hip toss. Well, I guess when he did his hip toss or arm drag, he took out his the Cobra glove and dropped it as he was trying to pick his thing up while he was in the LaBelle lock. Kind of like when Mike Tyson was facing Buster Douglas, he got knocked out. I mean, you're gonna bend back down to pick up your mouthpiece? Well, he tried to reach over and get his thing instead of actually trying to flip it over and reverse a move and what have you. Well, I guess, it's scripted, so he tapped out. Next up was Bella's defeating Kelly and Oksana in 1 minute 19 seconds. Bell rang as soon as they got back from commercial, and the twins won with the twin magic thing. After Oksana stunk up the joint, the announce team hyped Cena going back out for later. Looks like another giant talking segment at the end of the show. So many commercial breaks. A shot was shown of at Minneapolis, and they cut to the ring where Cena was standing. He said before he was interrupted by the skank octopus, he came out to talk about The Rock. He said the guy who's not here tonight, but will be here next week. The crowd chanted, "Rocky, Rocky, Rocky, Rocky," and Cena said he used to chant that too, until The Rock morphed into Dwayne and headed up Team Film It. Well, Cena trashed Rock's people and put him over as this disconnected star. He said this was the point where he was supposed to say he respected The Rock, but he doesn't. He said he had a problem with The Rock, and it was the same problem he had for 7 years. He said it wasn't a movie promo for him. He trashed some of his own movies, and said his problem was that as soon as Dwayne is done next week, he'll kick it back to Hollywood, like he always does. He said he was excited like everybody else when Rock came back, and said he would never leave again, but he did leave again. He said he was probably going to get fined for saying it, but the only reason Dwayne came back was to promote Fast Five and launch his Twitter account. He said April 1st meant everything to him. He said he was fighting for all the people behind that curtain who had dreams of being, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler. He closed with, see you next week, movie star. Well, the announced team put over the promo and hyped the Battle Royal for next. Commercial break. CM Punk was introduced and joined the announced team. Ring introductions occurred for all the Battle Royal participants. 10-man Battle Royal to face CM Punk at WrestleMania 28. And everybody knows it's going to be Chris Jericho anyways. Khali was tossed in the first elimination by everybody in under a minute, and they go to commercial. Back from the break, Cody is working on Santino while Show works on Truth. Miz works on Kofi on the apron, but Kofi hangs on. Jericho works on eliminating Ziggler, but he hangs on. Barrett and Cody team up to try to eliminate Big Show, but they can't do it. Show fights Jericho, Cody, and Barrett off. He stands on Ziggler's back now. Kofi tosses Miz over, but he hangs on. Kofi and Truth double drop kick Miz, and he's gone. Because he went over the top from the drop kick. Big Show grabs Truth and Kofi for a double coat slam. Jericho runs over and hits Code Breaker on Show. Ziggler with a zigzag on Jericho. Cody with a crossroads on Ziggler. Barrett takes out Cody with a big side slam. Barrett goes to do the wasteland on Santino over the top, but Santino counters and eliminates Wade Barrett, and the crowd went nuts on that. Apparently, Wade Barrett gets injured in the next couple of sentences. Santino eliminates Truth but Ziggler takes him down. Show then grabs Ziggler and throws him over the top. Ziggler is eliminated and smacks his jaw hard on the announcer's table. Show fights off everyone in the ring. Kofi goes at it with Jericho. Kofi goes to the top and Jericho shoves him off to the floor. Kofi is eliminated. It's down to Show, Jericho, Santino, and Cody now. Officials are out checking on Wade Barrett because either Kofi or Cody hit Wade Barrett to injure him. Could be a possible real injury because they were taping up Wade Barrett's arm. Cody hits a beautiful disaster on Show. Jericho with a lion salt on Show, and Cody gets a shot in. Jericho grabs Santino, but he hangs on to avoid elimination. Santino pulls out the Cobra and decks Jericho with it. Crowd goes nuts again. Cody runs over and eliminates Santino. By surprise, Cody and Jericho work on Show now. They try for a double suplex, but he counters and suplexes them both at once. Show grabs Cody and eliminates him. Show drops Jericho with a big chop to the chest. He comes up and he just, it's like Jericho just falls back like, I got chopped down. Similar to a clothesline, it's a slow fall. Show grabs Jericho, but Jericho fights him. Show puts Jericho over the top. But it was Show trying to put Jericho out with a suplex. Jericho counters and gets on the apron, and Cody comes to the rescue, helping out Jericho, eliminating Big Show, and Jericho wins the Rumble because he just rolls under the rope saying there's the survivor. Winner and new #1 contender for WrestleMania versus Punk, Chris Jericho. Well, Chris Jericho is going to WrestleMania to face Punk for the WWE title. Punk enters the ring with the WWE title, and they have a stare down to end the show. Punk offers to shake his hand. Jericho looked at it and walked away to end the show. Well, after the show, Jason Powell texted to say that Barrett walked out after the match with his arm in a splint. Everyone else, including Ziggler, was okay. In fact, Ziggler worked the dark match, but there's no result from it yet, so the result will be on tomorrow's SmackDown. NXT and Superstars, one match, probably, I guess. Results for everything on that will be tomorrow night. Thanks for viewing and stay tuned.